Welcome to the Tag Body Art tutorial series, where today we are going to learn a bright and playful sugar skull. We are going to begin this design by using a petal sponge and pearl white. We're going to lightly spritz the petal sponge with water and then pick up the paint onto the sponge by using a swiping action. We are going to gently but firmly, using a dabbing action, cover the entire face in pearl white. Pearl white gives the face a more even coverage and a softer look than using plain white paint. Make sure you're covering the entire forehead, the eyelids, and down to the lower half of the face. When painting a sugar skull, it's all about using shapes. The first shape we are going to paint is 2 circular shapes over each eye. They don't have to be perfect circles, but we just want to create a circular shape around each eye. You can use a round brush for this step. Now we're going to gently fill in these circles. You can use a wider brush to cover the area more quickly, or you can continue using a small round brush. You may need to continually reload your brush so that your paint does not go dry. This can be a trickier area on younger faces to get right up underneath the eye. Just paint where it feels safe and comfortable for the child. But we are aiming for a filled-in circle on each eye. Using a dark but bright colour will always work for the sunken hollow eyes. Next, we're going to paint dots around these large circles. You can use a round brush for this step. You want your dots to be big enough to see, so make sure the pressure of your brush when pushing onto the skin is firm. Remembering, a light pressure will create a small dot, and pushing with a firmer pressure will create a larger dot. And choose a contrasting colour. So here I've used purple against the bright pink eye. You're now just going to repeat that exact same step on the other side. The next step to this design, we're going to use a small round brush again, and we're just going to simply add a few sharp lines in between each dot. To make your lines look short and sharp and have a pointed finish, try pushing down with a tiny bit of pressure, and then as you flick the line, gently release that pressure. So it's more of a flicking action. We're then going to repeat this step on the other side, remembering to reload your brush if your paint becomes dry. Remember, to reload your brush, you're just going to dip the brush into some clean water, and then using a circular motion, dip it into the colour of your choice and do nice circular motions until there is enough paint on your brush. And just a quick tip, whenever you reload your brush, always do a quick little test on the back of your hand just to make sure it's not too dry and not too wet. The next step to this design, we're going to use a petal brush, and we're going to press on some flower petals across the forehead and chin. To create colourful double-dipped flower petals, or triple-dipped if you are an advanced painter, you're going to firstly load your petal brush into some white paint. Once the petal brush has been loaded well in white paint, then you can dip just the very tip of the petal brush into the colour of your choice. I have done a contrasting colour to the pink and have chose teal and green. You want your flower petals on your forehead to be pointing downwards and the flower petals on your chin to be pointing upwards. I like 3 strong flower petals on the chin. Remember, when doing flower petals, it's a pressing action. You want to pick a vibrant colour for your flower petals that is contrasting to the colour of the sunken eyes. The next step to this design is using a small round brush and black paint, and we're going to follow the shape of a triangle on the nose. You can see above I have done 2 triangles side by side. If this is too difficult, you could just do one large triangle with the point of the triangle at the top of the bridge of the nose. You then want to fill this triangle shape in all black to give the appearance of the nasal bone. Using the same brush and the same black paint, we're just going to add some dots to the forehead underneath the flower petals. Using a firm but gentle pressure, let's add 4 to 5 dots underneath each flower petal. Remember, sugar skulls need to be symmetrical, and it's all about patterns and shapes on the face. Using dots is a simple and easy way, it's beginner friendly, to create a nice pattern across the forehead. Remember, we're always using a round brush when doing dots. Now it's time to paint the lips in a colour of your choice. I'm using Pearl Rose. If more than one person will be using the brushes from the home palette, I recommend using disposable lip applicators for this part of the design. Once the lips have been coloured in, the final part to this design is creating some stitched lips on either side of the lips. We're going to use a round brush and black paint and simply paint on symmetrical lines either side of the lips, heading in an outwards direction. To create the appearance of stitches, just draw 2 crosses on either side of these lines. This helps our sugar skull to come to life and add a little bit of spooky to the design. And this is the final part to this design, and we are all finished. We have a bright, vibrant, playful sugar skull. Perfect for cosplay or Halloween. Remembering the key to a good sugar skull is using shapes and patterns.